Hello and welcome to Studio 275 for the second part of music publishing. You can see that we're in the rather untidy choir boxes and music section today. I want to cover on self-publishing today. And self-publishing basically is combining being a business with also being a composer is something that lots of composers don't want to do. So basically, I guess it boils down to really who wants your music? How can you find those people? And that may have an influence on the pieces that you write, as in what pieces are needed. But when we dealt with the traditional publisher, basically that was a case of the traditional publisher taking your music and selling it. And of course, they won't take it unless they think that there is a market for it. Business and art put together is a tricky situation for many composers. So, where can you sell it? How can you sell it? How can you get it out there? Well, I think there's many ways. I think we sometimes fall into thinking that the only place these days is the internet, and we'll come to that in a minute. And yes, of course, that can be very successful via your own website or via Arrange Sheet Music Plus, something like that. Of course, there are other places that you can sell your sheet music, and the point is, these are the places that a traditional publisher may well do on your behalf, which of course you then need to do. Breaking this down, let's start, for example, with exam boards. The UK music exam boards, of which there are two or three major ones and quite a few minor ones, they need music for set exam lists for graded exams. There's one place there that you could think about sending music. Uh, Music festivals, competitive music festivals, and other music festivals. They also need music all the time for either set lists or to put on syllabuses for people coming to do competitive music festivals. There's just a couple there of places which are not internet connected. We can get sucked into the world of Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. YouTube is slightly different because YouTube is very fine for making recordings which back up any music that you sent to anybody. But of course, sheet music has been around uh, for almost as long as me, millennium. And although there was a dip in the 1900s, early 1900s, sheet music has continued to sell and does continue to sell all the time. And when you think about that, you think, well, how did people sell it before there was the internet, before there was Facebook, before we could put videos on YouTube? Well, largely through shops, and it's very difficult, to be fair, for a self-publisher to get their music into shops because shops don't tend to keep in stock the vast amount of music that they once did, and really only sort of take in music that is on exam lists or that is likely to be sold on a fairly regular basis. And if you're a self-publisher, you will need to barcode and make contact with these, and maybe even visit, and as a travelling salesman, as it were, the outlets where you'd like to get your music in. My word of warning would be never to sell it on sale or return, because once sheet music has been in a shop and it's been handled a few times, it basically is second-hand music. Um, and it's really no good to you if it eventually comes back. Creating a website, if we are going to do things on the internet, is of course of paramount importance. Now, a website can list all your products. It can make a seamless transition through Stripe or PayPal, where people can buy your music And in fact, an awful lot of our music, having just mentioned that the internet isn't the only place, a lot of our music is bought by our daily Facebook posts or by our daily, sorry, our daily release on YouTube from somebody around the world, or actually, uh, I would say not so much through Instagram for us, but it might work well for you. We also sell music through Cheap Music Plus, which is Hal Leonard, the Arrange Me system. But if you sell it through your own website, of course, you are in control of its pricing. You are also in receipt of 100% of the returns of the music, whereas on lots of the other sites, and of course, Arrange Me is not the only one. There are many other publishing sites that will take the works of self-publishers, varying from 30% to 50, 60% even of the returns going to the to the composer. But of course, your music is then amongst millions of pieces, and you will still have to do the promotion because people won't automatically find your music. So you may still have to uh, make videos, use Facebook. I think setting up an email newsletter to people that have bought your music is something you can do if the customers bought it from your website. But of course, if the customers bought it from some other website, you don't know who the customer is. We prefer sales to come through our website because we can then add those customers to a mailing list. And once a month, and it is only once a month in our case, we can send them a list of the latest releases or releases that are on offer or videos that have come out or even a call for things that we'd like to publish in our catalogue. So I think your own website, in which you can also, very little these days in terms of cost, write a monthly blog on a subject to do with writing music. And you can do a podcast or a video, and here we are. I'm a bit late to the party here because some people have been doing these for years. Um, but they are another way of getting your music out there, as indeed is creating online lesson courses that use your music, uh, making a video tutorial of how to play maybe one of your pieces, or tips for performing a piece, or why the piece was written. In fact, anything that encourages more interest in your music. This is a fair amount of work, and it's the fair amount of work that you would hope the publisher would do for you. And when some people say, well, the publisher does some work, but I only get a return of 10, 15%, this is because they will employ staff. There is a cost in doing all this work. And I think a lot of composers, if they were to cost out the actual time at a proper working rate, that they promote their own music, they would be shocked to see how much it has actually cost to promote a piece. You guys got making videos of upcoming releases, organizing your videos into playlists so you catch more people. You can use end cards and screens on YouTube. There are people much more experienced than me doing this, but even I have noticed that by adding cards and end screens which link to another piece or which link to composition lessons or whatever has proved dividends. Um, we're mentioning creating Facebook pages. Facebook pages specifically for you. So there is a Tim Knight Facebook page, which is family and friends, and which I try to not friend people that are not connected with me personally. And there's a Tim Knight music page, which of course is what it says it is, a page related to music, which my family may not remotely be interested in at all. Um, Sharing links to other people's recordings of your music on social media. Um, I could go on having a giveaway or a buy one. Basically, like a store. You are the store. You retain as a self-publishing composer. Control of everything that happens to your music, having it licensed to be in somebody else's publications, part of your possible income stream. Um, what else? Well, I did a post the other day about inspiration, and that was commented on by a fair few other composers. It's creating a persona about yourself, really, because one of the things I've learned over many years is people don't commission composers. It's a silly thing to say, but it isn't really, because they commission people that they know who happen to be a composer. I have only, in many commissions, had two commissions that have come completely out of the blue from people that I have not had any connection with whatsoever up to the date of the commission arriving. Um, Concert programs, trade fairs, these are all things that the composer needs to be out and about at. And again, a publisher would be at the major trade fairs on your behalf, but of course, if you're doing it yourself, then you would need to be at the trade fair with your own music, with printed stocks of your music. This is where the download thing, which is fine, is of no use, because people like to feel, to see. If they're in person, you can talk to them about your music, you can give them a sample copy. But printed music has not gone away and will not go away. Um, you can actually apply for at certain music conferences to present a seminar on composing, or on a particular piece of music or something you've written. Having something physical to give to people when they come to see you at a trade fair is vitally important, because it's of the moment. They look at the piece of the moment. They may say, "Oh, yes, I'll email you about that later." And yes, it may happen, it may not, but you should get the contacts so that you can follow them up. You can get involved with performances of your own music. I think you should. Even if that means giving away music, so that you can be at a rehearsal, so that people link the music with a real person. You can, of course, take that to a conclusion, hosting your own concerts of your own music, and other local composers' music. Um, and it involves costs. This involves costs that, of course, the publisher, the traditional publisher, may have done on your behalf. You can, and maybe in choral music, we're thinking, publish many different variations of the same piece of music. It can be, we can in organ music. You can publish an organ manuals only version, and with pedals. More people become exposed to the piece of music that you wrote. So a piece that's SATB could be made SSA or SAB, and that's another market for the same piece of music. Subscriber communities, Patreon, all these are things that are products of a recent age, and are all very useful, and can be promoted in many ways. I think the message I'm trying to get across here is that don't get hooked in to just the internet, because you need, I think, to establish a base as a composer locally. From the local performances, which causes people to buy sheet music, you grow an audience. Yes, have a website. Yes, sell your music on the website, which will then go around the world, and which will build an online community of people who support you, to whom that you can email a newsletter. Not forgetting, of course, that you can always use the old-fashioned postman to send a paper mail. Don't forget to include a catalogue of all the music you publish. In the pieces of music that you're sending out on sale, because people don't necessarily know what else is might be available. It is an enormous amount of work, but it is very worthwhile. And it is the work that, of course, you are invested in because it's your music. But don't forget to leave time to write some music, or there will be nothing to sell. I could go into this subject for much longer, but it would take too long. But if you've got questions, I'm happy for you to pop them in the comments. It's a very brief look here at the self-publishing world of music publishing, but it might be enough to consider, if you're considering doing it, to tip you over the edge and say, yes, that's for me. Or no, actually, do you know what? I never knew that much work was involved and I really don't have the time. Bearing in mind that most composers are not just solely composers. I mean, I have a portfolio career of being a conductor of 3 choirs. I do some teaching, uh, and I do a lot of composing and publishing for other people, and also, but actually something that came across me yesterday when I got my performing rights uh, return was that there were at least 20 pieces that I know of performances of, but I'd forgotten to tell the performing rights collection agencies another thing that a publisher will do on your behalf, but which you should do yourself, because if somebody records or performs your music, you're entitled to royalties. That is another income stream. So feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and I hope you'll find there's something useful here, and we shall be back again next week with a different subject. So, thanks for watching.